it is Yamzy from the Blue Plum Bob, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a speed build in the world of Windenburg. I'm actually building a residential house, or not a residential. I'm actually not building a residential house. I meant to say I'm actually building a rental house today, which is not my usual go-to, but I thought that it would be fun. So you can see I am building first of all, with a sim on the lot. I just made a sim version of myself really quick and then dropped her on the lot, gave her $2 million to work with. So I didn't spend all of that, but I had enough money that I didn't have to go back and add more, which is what I wanted. I'm also working in winter because I'm making a Winterfest cottage. So I imagine this is somewhere that my Sims personally in my Alphabet Legacy Challenge, as well as other households that I play with in the future, will go here and they will spend their holidays here. So with that in mind, I made a room for just about every different age of sim I could think of. So we have 2 single beds, we have 3 double beds, and we have a toddler bed in this house. So no matter what stage of life my Sims are at, there should be enough coverage that they're all covered. And I think what I'm gonna go with is if the Sims somehow have a newborn, we'll just age them up before we go. Newborns aren't a huge deal. So yeah, you can see I'm working on the exterior here. This is quite similar style to what I've been doing in the Willow Creek neighborhoods. It especially kind of resembles the Oakenstead household, if you guys have seen that speed build. That one's up on my channel right now. I really like that one. It kind of reminds me of that. It also is kind of just reminding me of like a standard colonial. You can see we're doing red and white on the outside, giving it a real festive look. We go ahead and use some nice red brick and things as well to tie those together. Here I am adding some columns. I don't use the red ones. I use some that are actually red and white, but not until I put these spandrels on. I realized that I was kind of working a little bit backwards in that. If I put on all the columns, I would have to go section by section instead of just going one straight line and then 2 back. But yeah, you can see here I am just putting in some columns. I add the little, I can't remember what that's called, the trim? I think it's the trim. I add a little trim between the balcony of the 2nd floor and like the spandrels and stuff of the 1st floor. I think it looks a lot nicer. And here I am adding some festive windows. So we do go with these basically around the entirety of the house. I also use some white smaller windows upstairs briefly, and then I also go with the new windows that we got in the update. Hello, Nebby. She's wandering around my office. I use the windows from the update that we got, the ones that kind of look like they go with Moschino. I thought it gave a little nice modern touch to the outside of this because it is such a traditional build. But here that window I have selected, it ends up being used on the 2nd floor to give some more light to the upstairs bedrooms, and then I go ahead and replace those with those same windows downstairs. Here I am. I'm using a custom content door. I actually use custom content doors throughout this entire thing because they have this really nice red and white swatch. I can't remember who created the custom content, but I believe the pack is an extension of stuff that looks like it's supposed to go with the stuff from Get Famous. I think. I may be wrong on that. But here I am picking out the exterior. As you can see, we go with the red brick and red siding combo. I do go back in a moment here, find that same brick color. It takes me a minute, but I put that on all of the jutting out points instead. So you can see I use that for these little curved roof bits in the front, and I also do that for the extending place in the back, just like that, and then for the chimney on the side, of course, too. And then the top floor, we just add the rest of this red in there. I think it looks really nice, but I could be biased, all things considered. But yeah, here we go, adding those other windows in there. I think those are the octave windows. Is that what they're called? I don't know. Anyway, moving on to floor plan here. So I can't remember. I think I struggled a bit with this floor plan. You can see me kind of hesitating here for a moment. And then we kind of start working our way around. I kind of stall by taking out all of these walls upstairs and like, oh, I'll have these little jutting out points and things like that. But here I add a little bit more light. I plan on using the left house as the master suite in the end. You can see kind of mapping out the right side of the house right now. This ends up being the dining room up front. In the middle is a kitchen, and right here I'm putting in this really neat, it is a sunken level, basically like I want to say I would call it maybe a formal living room, but I end up putting in, yeah, we do this same exposed brick, and I end up putting in a fireplace and a seating area down here. I do end up changing that tile to a more red color from Jungle Adventure, which also ends up carrying into the kitchen. You can see stalling a little bit more here. I was really struggling. I ended up putting in these little walls, kind of trying to make it look like thicker brick walls inside, which would separate the dining room from the kitchen. I do make them a little bit smaller here, but those end up staying. You can see here I am adding platforms to separate the areas. So this is a trick I learned from, I think from Simlicy is where I saw it, to put the platforms all the way up in those areas. That way, when it comes down to like actual gameplay, that area won't look cut out, it won't look exposed. But yeah, here we are working on the other side of the house. This took me a little while to figure out as well. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, end up going with a little hallway here, which leads to a small study. And then we've got a little bathroom here. And then we've got the grandparents' suite. I honestly think that the grandparents' suite is nicer than the parents' suite upstairs. Obviously, if you're using this house for gameplay, you can divvy that up however you want. But also, if you're using this house for gameplay, there is quite a bit of custom content in here because I was generally making this for myself. Here we are mapping out the toddler bedroom as well as the bathroom, which connects to the rest of the house. Then we've got another double bedroom and then the single bed. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in this house. Yeah, and then working out the master suite here, I end up using that same thicker wall brick idea in between the master bedroom and master bath. The one thing is, in the grandparents' suite, the bathroom is a lot smaller than it is in the parents' suite. So I guess if you don't really care about that, I would definitely say the grandparents' suite is nicer. But yeah. Here I am going in, doing all of this flooring. It is vampires flooring, raising that area up because I knew I wasn't going to use it. And then I go in and, oh, here I am picking out some wallpaper too. I don't stay with this one. It actually takes me a minute to figure out what I'm going to use. I end up using something, I can't remember what pack it's from, but it's something different, and I don't believe it's custom content. Just lighting up the space so we can see what I'm doing, because that would be helpful. Going upstairs, doing the same thing, adding some lights. Yeah, so I actually got this idea while I was watching a YouTube channel which tours millionaire mansions. I don't remember the channel name off the top of my head, but it is so much fun to watch. As someone who has always genuinely enjoyed interior designing, this person goes in and like tours like millionaire mansions as well as like these huge houses. And I was watching him tour somewhere in Colorado. I think it was Aspen, Colorado. So relatively small area, but I ended up watching this really nice winter mansion that he was touring, and it gave me the inspiration I needed to work on this piece. I say this piece like it's a piece of art. I mean, I guess you could kind of call it one of those if you wanted. But yeah, going in, adding that same Jungle Adventure tile I mentioned before, changing the wallpaper, This is what we end up going with, but in this tan color because I felt like the red was just a little bit too on the nose. It also didn't quite match the doors, and I didn't like that, so I ended up changing it to this tan color. And then I think I go in right now and do some accent walls. No, I go in and I add some doorways in where I'm missing them. So yeah, you can see these doorways perfectly match the doors. They're so pretty. I love them so much. I love this set of custom content. I was looking as well to put one of those. For some reason I wanted to have like an exposed area from the bedroom to the bathroom. I was gonna leave it without a wall there, but then I knew your Sims would get embarrassed just walking into the room. Or into the bedroom rather, the bedroom, not the bathroom. So I decided to put a doorway in there to still leave it semi-open, but to save the trouble of some gameplay mechanics. But yeah, here we are putting those same red doors in. You can see they all match. I did double doors going into all of the bedrooms, and then the bathrooms get single doors. So you can kind of tell that way where you're heading off to. Yeah, so adding more of these accent walls in here gets a little bit dizzying for a moment just because I'm flipping back and forth looking for accent walls. I end up using this fireplace from Cats and Dogs. And then here I'm looking around a little bit more, and then I go with these couches. Okay, so like I mentioned, the doorways and stuff that I'm using are like an extension of Get Famous. It's an addition of things that would look nice with the Get Famous items. Similarly, this is an addition of things that would look nice with the Nifty Knitting Pack. So you can see the two wide couches, the love seats, those are from Nifty Knitting. The person who created this custom content, though, took that design and turned it into a 3-wide couch. So I used that in there as well, and I think it looks super nice. Here I am. I'm going through doing just like a brief overview, trying to figure out what I'm up to. I believe at this point I was actually showing my boyfriend and telling him what I was doing with the build, and getting some of his input as to where I should put what, and still working through that. But here we go, adding a huge table. We actually do end up using this festive one from, I think it's the free holiday update, and then using some custom content chairs that end up looking really nice. I thought about using those ones from Outdoor Retreat, but holy cow, was that a lot of red plaid. I couldn't do it. So we drop a simple rug underneath here as well. I try to go with something not too busy, and this ends up fitting the bill pretty well. That is from City Living, and then just the standard decorations. Actually, we put a Christmas tree in here, which I think is pretty nice. How many Christmas trees are there in this house? I think there's only 2, which is rather surprising. Maybe I should have added more. I mean, you don't really need a million Christmas trees, really. You can just put presents under whatever. There is one in the living room that your Sims can decorate together. Not that living room off of the kitchen, but the formal living room. Here I am trying to pick out curtains. It took me a while. I end up settling on the Cats and Dogs ones, and I use those throughout basically the entire house, except for the kitchen, but I don't put anything in the kitchen, I don't think. That's my bad. I probably should have. Here I am just picking out a little chair to go right there, and that does end up being custom content, so. Yeah, but moving on into the kitchen, I end up using custom content counters because of this really pretty red swatch. I really liked how it looked. And then over here you can see we kind of tuck the fridge over in that corner. I try to get an island in here. I do make it work, but not like this. This one is starting out being huge. I end up shrinking it way down. It's not even 4 long in the end, I don't think. I think it's 3. And then I put this coffee bar along the other side of this wall, which I think is a really nice touch. To me, it felt more like a hot cocoa bar because I don't drink coffee. It makes me very, very jumpy. But I really like hot cocoa, and I feel like that would be like the perfect place. Like, can you just imagine renting a Christmas house, or a winter house rather, and having like this huge bar set out for like coffee and hot cocoa? Like, that feels like heaven to me. Anyway, picking out some bar stools here. I end up using these ones from Parenthood because they've got that red swatch. I felt like it wasn't too much, but at the same time, like, we brought some of the Christmas element in there. Just adding some quick cupboarding. It took me a second to remember what the cupboards were called. And then, yeah, so we've got some cupboards right there. Not too much actual practical kitchen space, storage space, I guess you could say, but it doesn't matter in The Sims, so who cares? Here I am adding an espresso bar, and then I add also something else, Grindomatic for the coffee beans. I don't know if it matters, but yeah, and then just going in, adding a kitchen sink, and I believe that is it for this area of the house. I'm realizing now I may not have put a trash can anywhere in this build. But yeah, just putting a plant in the corner, getting those same those same curtains. I'm really mad at myself for forgetting the trash can. And then we move on to the entryway. Typically, the entryway is the most boring thing for me to furnish. Don't know what it is. Probably because it's very empty. So I'm gonna tell a little story over it, and you guys can just watch. But, so, I actually wasn't meaning to post this recently. I was working on something else. This kind of fell to the back of my mind, and then I wanted to post more of my Alphabet Legacy Challenge. If you guys are following that, we should be on episode 5. And the problem is, I cannot for the life of me get Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I edit in, to export it. I have tried probably 50 different times over the past 2 days. I cannot figure out the issue. I've done so many different things. I've done so many different Googles and all of that to try and figure out what on earth to do to fix it, and it's not working. So I decided that today I was going to go in, I was going to finish building this winter home. I hadn't furnished any of the upstairs yet, so I furnished it quick, started around 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's currently 5:30 that I'm recording this. And yeah, so I kind of just, I don't want to say I threw it together because I did still do a thorough job, I think, and I do like how the upstairs turned out as well. But yeah, I was just a little frustrated, like, I can't figure out how to get that to work. But yeah, we are through with the entry hall. Now we are into the main living room, the formal living room, I suppose. Yeah, using this custom content furniture again. This one I think is from the country set from Hey Harry, I believe. But yeah, it looks really nice in here. I loved the way it looked. Again, the reason I use custom content is because these builds are primarily for myself. I think when it comes to my personal viewing habits of Sims builds, I usually don't care if they have custom content or not because I'm not going to go download them off the gallery. I just love to watch and get inspiration from other people. So when there are videos that specifically say contains CC or doesn't contain CC, I'm not really looking for that. Just, that's a personal thing for me. And because I'm not looking for that myself, I don't really look for it when I'm building for other people. So if I'm using custom content, I'm like, oh well, it looks nice in here. It's less of a concern for me. So I'm sorry if you really want to download these from the gallery. If you do, you'll probably have to refurnish a lot of it and possibly add some new doors and some new windows. But yeah, I mean, if you like the floor plan enough, then sure, by all means. But here we are moving into the grandparents' suite. So I add these two like built-in bookshelves, and I put some books on them, just more custom content things, and then I end up using these red couches. So this is a similar situation to the Nifty Knitting ones. This is paranormal. So these 2 wide couches actually match the 3 wide couch that is in the paranormal pack, but we didn't get a 2 wide couch with the pillows. I just really like these because it's so frustrating to me that when we get new packs, we'll get a new chair and a new 3 wide couch, but then we don't have a 2 wide couch that matches, Or we'll get a 2-wide couch and we'll get 2 different chairs, but it's like, what do I do with this? So when custom content creators go in and they add the extra stuff that we were missing, it's awesome. I love that custom content creators do that. I owe my life to custom content creators, I swear. But here we are, just going ahead and furnishing the bathroom in here, giving them a pretty nice mirror. And then, yeah, we've got this nice tub. We've got the nice 2-wide shower. That is from a Hampton Suite. Oh man, I can't remember the simmer's name, but it's the Hampton Suite custom content pack, and it's very nice. I love it. Here I was trying to find some different curtains to go in there. I think I had taken a break at this point and forgotten what I had done earlier, and then it only takes me a second to go back and realize, oh hey, I've been using different curtains everywhere else, and they look a lot nicer in the space than these do. Here, just going ahead and saving my game. Oh, no, I know what this is. My cat was on my keyboard. Yeah, she was having a grand old time sitting on my keyboard, so I politely asked her to leave, and when she finally did, I went ahead and continued with the build. But yeah, the nice thing about the grandparents' suite is that it is in this, like, little... It could be a sunroom area. I really like that about this, actually. And if you wanted to take this floor plan and rework it so that this ends up being a sunroom instead, you could totally do that. Here I'm using custom content bed frames and bedding. I end up going with this colonial one, again from Hey Harry. Do I? I don't think I do, actually. I think I end up switching it out. Just trying to find some bedding that'll fit. And I end up looking... Oh, you know what? Maybe I do leave it like this. You know, I started this build a while ago, like at least a week and a half ago, and I finished it today. So this is all stuff that I did like a week and a half ago already. So much custom content in here, though, now that I'm looking back at it, because I'm pretty sure we use custom content accent tables too. But I'm going to take this time to go briefly into my Let's Play, because if you guys haven't been watching it, it is such a blast. Honestly, I wasn't one for watching Sims Let's Plays in the past because I got bored with them pretty easily, and then I started watching, over quarantine actually, I started watching Little Simsy's 100 Baby Challenge. I started watching it from the very beginning, and it was so much fun. Partly because Little Simsy is so different now, that, like, when she started recording the 100 Baby Challenge, she was still in high school, and it was very interesting to watch. But partly also because, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm sitting, like, at home doing nothing, I can't listen to music. Music really distracts me, but if I put on someone else, like, playing a video game or something, it just relaxes me. Like, when I was a kid, my dad was very much the type to, like, let us stay up late and watch him play video games. I have very good, fond memories of watching my dad play Legend of Zelda Wind Waker at like 11, 12 at night when I couldn't sleep or I wasn't feeling well and like I was sick and laying on the couch. Like, it's just so comforting to me. So watching people do Let's Plays for me is just like kind of bringing me back to that nostalgia, but also like it's a game I'm really invested in. And, like, I know so much about it, too, so I feel like I can kind of contribute my own thoughts to the process. But here we are renovating this tiny study. We end up putting an easel in here and then some art, and that's just about it, maybe a plant. But the purpose of having a study in this house, I think, is to, one, there's extra space in case you need to add a different bed. So you could add a single bed, you could add a toddler bed in here. I figured there were enough double beds. But two, you've got a computer now on the lot, so you can help your Sims, like, if they need to get their fun up, because there aren't any TVs in this house. I don't know if you guys noticed that so far. There aren't any upstairs either. I just felt like those fireplaces don't really allow you to put a TV on top, and I really liked those ones. I thought they were nice. But yeah, on the landing we put a card table, again, to help your Sims get their fun up. I imagine, in my family, it is tradition on Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve night, we go over to my grandparents' house and all of us play cards. I don't know if that's just my family having something to do with gambling type thing, but it has always been tradition as long as I can remember. My sisters and I used to not be allowed to play with them, but very recently we were able to start playing cards with them. Yeah, and you can see now I'm into the portion that I worked on today because I just had to reset my cheats. You might have noticed a rather abrupt cut a minute ago, but yeah, just trying to get myself reacquainted with this house for a minute. I end up putting a much more modern fireplace in here. I have these chairs here for a second. I'm trying to fiddle with them and try to make them work, but I end up getting rid of them in the end. I figured if I had the chairs, I would put a TV, but I couldn't make them work, so I didn't put a TV in here. We end up putting the bed in front of the window, which was not ideal, but it seemed like the best place to put it. Again, using this colonial bed frame, end up picking out some, just a simple green bedding. That's the thing I love about CC, is that you get a difference between the bed frame and then the actual comforter that you put on top. It really allows for a lot more customization, and I think it's an easy way to do that, because from my standpoint, it's either the Sims would have to make all of those swatches, all the swatches of the comforter, all the swatches of the wood, and you would have to make sure that every swatch of the comforter and every swatch of the comforter could go on every swatch of the wood, and it would just be a huge mess. But the moment you separate them, that leaves so much room for customization without all the stress. Like, I don't know. I think that the Sims should take some notes from the CC creators, but at the same time, the CC creators are doing amazing, and I don't want the Sims to take over. So, maybe that's just me. But here we go, just putting a quick chair in there and a little mirror, and then we are on to the master bath. So you can see this room is quite big. Like, this is larger than the toddler's bedroom, I think. But yeah, we put in the nice sink here. That's also custom content. And then I put a little toilet. The toilet placement is a little bit awkward, I'll admit, because you can look straight through that doorway and just look at the person on the toilet. But I couldn't see a way to put it in there otherwise because I really wanted that shower to go along the other side. So, maybe just ignore it because it's The Sims. That's my recommendation personally. Here we go, putting in this rug. I never ever use this rug, but I think it's so pretty, and finally I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna use it. So I did. And that's how I used it. Moving on, we end up going into this next room with a double bed next, which is this front one here. Pretty quick, we put the curtains up, and then we go up to this bedroom. And I end up using... I don't use that bed frame. I think I use this one. I'm pretty sure I use this one. And then we go in, we find some bedding that works. Just like that, get some... Nope, not that one. Oh my gosh, this is the stuff I built like 2 hours ago and I still can't remember. That's funny. We end up putting a little ottoman in front of the window. I changed it to a lighter tone though because the red on red wasn't working for me. Not with that anyway, it didn't match right. The comforter to me is like close enough and it looks nice together. But yeah, that ottoman wasn't doing it for me. That color's a little weird. So I changed it to the white tone, and then this is again something that came with the CC pack for Nifty Knitting. And then just figuring out what to do with this little alcove, I end up putting this really tall armoire, and then on the other side I just put a chair and a mirror, which is pretty standard, I think. Plus a quick rug, just to give some depth to the space, I suppose. But yeah, that's about it for this bedroom. And then we end up moving on to the two single beds bedroom, which I use the same method for. I take the bed frame, and then I put in the custom content bedding. And honestly, I could have given them both different colored bedding, but I was lazy, and I didn't. So they both get this green color. If you couldn't tell, I'm using a lot of red and green in this house. Yeah. And Unfortunately, there are no toys on the lot. We just have one stuffed animal, and it's in the toddler bedroom. But, I don't know. Like, it feels weird to me that you would have toys in a rental. So I kind of left them out for that purpose, but also because I was lazy. I feel like sometimes when it comes to, like, furnishing kids' rooms and toddlers' rooms, I get really lazy and bored with it really quickly, which is why they end up not looking great. But here we are furnishing. This is an ensuite for those 2 single beds. I figure, like, that very much feels to me like the young adult and the teen having to share a bedroom after so long, and they're like, God, we don't want to share a bedroom. Why can't, like, we both take one of the big beds or something? And the parents are like, well, I mean, you've got your own ensuite. And that's kind of the selling point for this room. That's just my thought process. But yeah, then we go ahead, we furnish the toddler's room pretty quick here, using the same kind of bed frame and then the same kind of bedding, giving it that green color again. And then a quick dresser in here. I put a rocking chair in the corner. I replaced that guy and put a rocking chair in there. And then, what else? We get the stuffed animal and a bookshelf. Okay. Yeah, and that's about it. Besides, we put this green bubble rug in here. And then we move on to the last bathroom. It's a pretty quick furnish. We just have a standard tub. I put in a sink. Same sink I've been using. I put in a toilet over here. I put a toddler potty on the side. And then just some quick details like towels and toilet paper and stuff like that. A little hamper here. A little caddy type thing from Spa Day. And then a mirror along the wall and a rug on the floor. And from there, I just add some flooring to the patios here. Yeah, you can tell I switched to summer to build so that I could add a little patio space out here. I don't put anything on it aside from a hot tub because, again, this reminds me of my grandparents, but on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, my grandparents had a hot tub on their back porch. And my parents would always go outside and they would spend some time in the hot tub. And it always boggled my mind. I was like, but it's so cold. And they were like, yeah, but it's hot in the hot tub. And we were, not as kids, we were never allowed out there. So here I am finishing up the roofing. I do switch back to the winter in a second here.
I think I need the white shirt.
Yeah.
The shirt's too small, I think, anyways.
Okay. But yeah, here we are switching back to winter, adding some trees in here. They look a lot better when you add them in winter, I think. Giving it that Christmassy, Winterfest-y vibe. And then, yeah, we just add some very basic landscaping here. We get some pretty big trees. End up putting this dry pine or whatever from Vampire Stuff. I tried to change it to a rental, but I couldn't because I had a sim on the lot. And now we are into screenshots. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this build. I hope you enjoy the rest of my videos that I've come out with. And if you're looking for more from me, I'll have a playlist linked down below of all my build videos. And you can always check out my channel for other Let's Plays and other things. Bye, guys!